This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome everyone to the ESIP Education Out to Lunch series, organized by ESIP Education Committee and hosted by the Earth Science Information Partners. My name is Margaret Mooney and I'm honored to introduce Ilya Jaslavsky, who's going to present on SuAVE. Okay, Ilya, thank you for presenting today.
Hello, everybody. I will show the system called SuAVE, which stands for Survey Analysis Via Visual Exploration. It's been used in several domains to explore data from visual arts, as you can see on these slides, to biodiversity and geosciences, to urban planning, and it's also been used by several libraries and museums to publish their collections. We've also used it in teaching research methods in sociology. Now it's also a gateway into computational and data science tools. So from any survey or collection of images, you can connect to a Jupyter notebook and work with the data, do computations, and bring the data back into the visual analysis systems. I know that ESIP is interested in this specific feature in the notebook, so I will show that in the demo. But basically, the workflow with SuAVE is you can publish your data set, you can do analysis visually, statistically, show results on the map, connect to Jupyter, and then annotate the what you found, share these annotations, and you can share these annotations as views, compile them into a story, and so on. So everything is online, and everything is open, and it's a free system, and you're very welcome to explore examples. Actually, let me go to the website. That's suave.sdsc.edu. You can also create an account. You see under My Surveys, you can register and publish your own surveys. And if we have a couple of minutes left at the end, I will demonstrate how you can load your own data. The only piece that we're still sorting out is connection to Jupyter hubs, but there will be a few options. So this is the website, and you can see that there's a gallery of different types of applications in different fields, in geosciences, biodiversity, in questionnaire surveys, and there are some results of how it's been used in teaching, tutorials, a few examples of how you can organize your findings in SuAVE into a blog. And if we go to geoscience applications now, I'll show you a couple examples just to get you started with how the software looks like. So this is a beautiful collection of images from USGS. You see that we have the entire collection here. And you can, as you zoom in on the images, you get higher resolution versions. And you can also organize them in any way you want. So for example, you want to sort them by whether they came from Landsat 5 or 7 or 8 or MODIS, and for each image you also have metadata on the right side, and you can search descriptions. You can subset it by any type of attributes, and so on. So this is just the visual side, but you can get more analytical, and perhaps let's look at another application where I have collections of samples of soil samples collected in wetlands in Lower Mekong, and here you have a lot of information about the samples, such as you see on the left side. You can get the type of system that you're interested in. Let's say we're interested in natural wetlands, and looking at samples that happen to be in a particular range of temperatures, for example. Okay. supposed to move the slider. Yeah, okay. It's just some delays. And you can again sort this by any variable. Look at the pictures. So you're working simultaneously with a lot of data and with images, so that your students can see what's going on. And once you selected those images, you can also look at them on the map. You can navigate to any pictures from here. From the map to, there are actually 6 pictures taken at this location, and you can navigate to that specific point. Okay, so for Jupyter Notebooks, I will show you yet another example where let's go to international projects. So many of you, I'm sure, have heard of Sustainable Development Goal Indicators. That's a UN initiative where each country is expected to report data or indicators on a bunch of parameters that reflect Sustainable Development Goals. And in this system, you can see all the in this view, you can see all the countries. You can sort them by any characteristics that is part of SDG indicators, such as sustainable development, GDP per capita, or adult obesity, or subjective well-being. Subjective well-being is actually an interesting characteristic. Let's just try to play with it. Let's go to and start a Jupyter notebook. And you see, I started directly from the visual analysis interface and will run through the cells here to pass parameters of the survey to the system. I'll skip a few cells because I don't want to copy additional notebooks. And now it gives me, well, sorry, there's some debugging going on here, but you'll see that there are a few options that you can do here. You can do some arithmetic. You can, if you have image collections, you can do convolutional neural networks from here, or you can connect to SDG database at the United Nations Statistics Division and retrieve data that they collect and store in that database. For now, I'll just show you simple arithmetic. And let's see, we'll start another notebook from this dispatcher and run through a few cells. And the idea here is that students may not know coding, but they will be able to click through cells at least, and maybe they'll in the process they'll take a peek at what the code does. So we're looking at, let's say, subjective well-being as one variable, and we want to compute a new variable and add this to a data set. It could be any combination of variables, perhaps climate change vulnerability would be an interesting one. How subjective well-being and climate change are related. I have no idea if this index makes sense, but let's see, we're just experimenting. So you can add, edit the variable. Let's say I run through a few additional steps here. This is my new SDG, whatever, 88 data set. You can give any name. Okay. So what the system has done, it created a new data set, and this variable that you just computed via Jupyter Notebook is added to it. And you can see that, let's say, Sweden has the top spot in terms of subjective well-being over climate vulnerability. You can also look at this data on the web, as a map, and part of it is, well, of course, Google Maps takes a bit to load. but it will create corpus maps of any indicator that you're interested in. And the variable that is added at the end is subjective well-being. Let's say we're only looking at countries that let's just delay with Google Maps. Now, if I have one more minute, I will show you how you can load the data. Or maybe I don't have a minute. Maybe we shall switch to questions and I'll show it during that time. Margaret, what do you say?
Hi, thank you. That was really wonderful. My question is, how do you load the data?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, so this is my, when you create an account, you get your personal survey gallery. Initially, it is empty. And there will be only one button, new survey. Let's try to open a survey, and I actually have some surveys here, so some survey data sets that are simply CSV files. If I open that file, it will look extremely simple. So that's actually a questionnaire survey of geoscientists about how they related to EarthCube. That was one of EarthCube surveys. So just a simple table. So I point to that file. It's on the desktop, and give it some name. If we also have a facility to create image pyramids from a collection of images that you provide, but for now I will skip that. And that's it. So your survey is published and it now can be shared with others. Of course, it will look ugly because I really didn't do anything to define the symbols. But I can go into edit and say, let's say gender will be associated with, will be shown with these icons. Primary discipline will be shown by colors, and you can change colors here. And we can also add dynamic text that will, in this case, reflect primary role of the person. Okay, now it updates the survey. And let's say we'll start with a bucket view. That's it. So you've done publishing it. It didn't really take longer than a minute. And now you can work with the survey. You can look at responses to any question. You can look at some relationships between questions. So, for example, how important atmospheric space data, space weather data for you. So the responses would range from not important to critically important. And you would hypothesize that for people who are atmospheric scientists, the data will be important. And indeed, if you subset it, your distribution will change. Most of the people who have this background will consider the data critically important. It actually adds 55% to the accuracy of that statement. But then there's one renegade that you may want to explore, who said that it's of low importance. So the idea here is that you have a big picture, but you can also zoom into outliers and imagine that these icons can represent images, can be any type of user-defined content that you have. Okay.
Thanks.
More questions?
Hi, this is Shelley. I just wanted to thank you for your presentation and just showing us through the system. It's just so powerful.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I have not worked directly with educators or haven't developed any lesson plans, but I have some ideas about that. And if some of you are interested, let's talk.
You'd be welcome to join the Education Committee call next week if you're available. to discuss that exactly. All right. Well, I think if no one else has any other questions, I see that Lynn Chambers has a comment in the chat. Can anyone use this? Oh.
Yes, it's all free and open source and available on the website.
And do you register when you use it?
You want to create an account to publish your surveys?
Sure.
But
right.
if you just want to explore things and don't want to publish your own data, you don't need anything.
Great. All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, for coming out to lunch with us. Join us next week. And thank you, Ilya, very much for presenting.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.